Okay, I have a custom test program here that gives me 30 days to use this, called Pamela for Skype, and allows me to record on my computer. Believe it or not, I don't even have to open Skype. So now that I know that it's working, I can just show you some other stuff. So I don't know if I can actually get that to minimize. They don't have a minimize deal on it, so I'm just going to put it down here. Okay, we're going to be, this little video is just going to introduce you to the two programs. So when I say introduce, I mean just basically tell you what they are. Then I'll have a follow-up video that we're going to use to actually show you how to do the actual page layouts using LaTeX. Now, you're not going to be learning LaTeX programming per se. You're going to be learning how to take our page document that's already been set up by a LaTeX programmer and just insert the document into it. Okay? So, over time, if you're doing this a long time, you may learn how to use it. I've picked up on a lot of the code just because I've been using it, and you start to say, oh, this is blah, 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 and you fix it. But the bottom line is that that's what we're going to be doing. So we're doing this just to have a gist of how it works, okay? And initially, well, to start out, we have two programs that you need to download off the web. They're free. Now, there is a third option, and that third option is called overleaf. And overleaf, I'll just open up web here. Overleaf is an online program, and it used to be called Write LaTeX, but they changed their name. You do not need to use this. There's no reason you have to use it. I'm just informing you it's here, okay? Because a lot of what these two freeware programs I have do, it also does. And this is actually for publishing to share with other people. So you could, if you desired, actually put a document on here, share it with the author, and then the author could go in there, sign in, and make changes to a document. Okay? And just to tell you a little bit about it, all this is something that exists. You sign up for an account. I have an account. My account's I'm actually on here right now, so if you open this up, I had opened it up the other day. I used to have some files in here. They're not there anymore. The file is here. But originally we were going to use this, and it didn't work out so well, because the original company, when it was Write LaTeX, allowed you to alter within the real document, and then it would convert it to LaTeX. Well, for some reason, they're not doing that now. Now, they have some function in here that might allow that, but I have to fool with this and find out for sure, okay? The bottom line is this exists. You can use this for editing documents. If for some reason you were somewhere and you said, oh, I want to do this, but I didn't bring my computer, you could get on Overleaf and sign in. You can only have so many files on here and things of that nature, but you could do some basic editing. The thing is that it's not as forgiving of LaTeX errors as are the other two programs, and so sometimes it can be a real pain. I actually found the two freeware programs to be phenomenally better. You have to remember that LaTeX is not something new, it's something old. When word processors were first being made, this program was established because in the sciences, particularly math, physics, and chemistry, they use so many equations that the word processors just couldn't do it. And even our modern word processors can't handle it. So if you go to a lot of different journals, they actually have templates available. And for example, here we have the reason I actually went to this website was to show you this. Some people use these to make really nice resumes and CVs and all kinds of things. It's actually globally very popular in the life sciences, for some reason, it never really was used. Probably because most early life scientists didn't do any real mathematical modeling or things of that nature, and so it just never really caught on. But it's wonderful for equations, for displaying equations, because you can really make them look nice. So, for example, here's some academic journals. They have templates here. And these templates are for just about almost every journal in the world has LaTeX capacity, and they will accept papers that have been done in LaTeX to be submitted that way. You may have seen this in journals, but here, for example, is the journal Scientific Reports. Okay, and if I open this, you can view open as a template, or you can view as a PDF here in Overleaf. Our journal's template should be on here somewhere. I don't know where it is. I personally just uploaded it on my own. So Scientific Reports, you know, that's Nature's journal. We open it as a template. We can see that, and the reason I'm doing this is just to show you that other journals have this stuff. They have a template here. And you can see that there are things here like authors and numbers here that designate which author is which. These numbers go down here and connect with affiliations, including this affiliation, and then abstracts and so forth. I'm using this right now just to show you how these things come out. When you're looking at this here on the template, here's how it's going to look when it's printed. It looks really nice, and it comes out crisp. You don't have hanging indents at the lower left-hand corner of a paragraph like you do when you format in Word. All of those issues are completely disappear. For the text, this works great. It looks really good. And if you look at some of the earlier issues of HCB, before last year we didn't use it because I wasn't doing the formatting and I just had to stop. But the year before I used it, and you look at those things and they look good. So there's a lot of different issues, a lot of different codes here. Here's a figure we can see right here, and if I click right here, if I zoom down, we're going to see that there's the figure, what it looks like on the screen for this journal. Not for the HCB, but for this journal. So the bottom line is that Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences uses it, Nature uses it, Science uses it. All of the Nature and Science publications use it. Springer, I think every Springer journal now has a LaTeX template. So, you know, surprisingly, none of the herpetology journals outside of us do. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about it. This really was just to show you, to get you a brief introduction of what this is. We have a template, and it has text in it. And so you have to take and copy the stuff out of the original Word document and move it into here. Once you move it into here, there's some, I'm going to go through, I'm going to format an entire document. I'm going to do it slowly. I can do most documents in here in 15, 20 minutes unless they're really, really complicated. Okay? If there's a table and a figure or a couple of figures, I can do it pretty quick. Tables can get hard. So, you know, that's really where things get difficult. But tables are hard in almost every one of the different programs. When we're using Quark Express, which we still can use, I have the software, but it actually is a semi-automated type thing. This really works nice. As you'll see when you use it. Initially, there's a learning curve. Initially, it seems, oh, I'm having trouble. Trust me, if I could learn this, I have no computer programming background at all. Okay? I have a little bit of web page programming, and this doesn't overlap with it at all. Back when I was a freshman in college, we used word processors. The very first word processors did use some of this code on those, I don't remember it at all. After doing one paper, I felt like, hey, I can do this, and now I'm not even the least bit uncomfortable with it. You'll catch on pretty quick, but initially you'll be contacting me saying, hey, how does this work? I'm having a problem here, and I'll be late. Yep, I know what you did. I'll look at the document and say, this is what you did. Okay. So the purpose of opening overleaf really was to show you that a simple version, because Scientific Reports has a pretty simple, their papers are short, and so they have a pretty simplistic document here. Okay. Now the thing that, when I open ours, it'll look a lot different, because ours has a number of things. We have a lot of formatting of the page layout that is unique. Okay. Sizes of text and things like that. So, but I'll go over it with you. So, that's just to introduce you to the idea that, hey, this is kind of what it looks like. You're not going to be altering any of these codes hardly ever. All you're going to do is you're going to be taking text, copying it off the Word document, pasting it here, and making sure that a few things are in place. And you do it, the best way to do it is to do it paragraph by paragraph, but you don't have to do it that way. I just found that it actually goes faster if you do it paragraph by paragraph. But everybody's different. You may find it different. So this is just the abstract we've got here. So I'm going to close out overleaf because we're not talking about it, okay? So as I told you, there are two programs that we use for formatting these layouts, okay? One of them is something called TexStudio. TexStudio is what you will be using most of the time when you do a layout, okay? And TexStudio, when it's open, without a document on it, looks like this, okay? After a you will need one other program, though, and that is something called TexWorks, which is here. I've already had it open. TexWorks, again, it just looks like an open word processor right now. All we use this for is to print out the PDFs. This is going to sound strange, but TexStudio is very user-friendly. But when they made it, they just didn't bother to put a PDF printer in it because they said there's PDF printers all over that'll do that. Well, so be it. TexWorks is for an advanced LaTeX person. So I am not that. None of you guys are it. I doubt we'll have anybody on it for probably a decade who is actually competent in LaTeX. Most people aren't in our field. So we're not going to worry about TexWorks other than say that both of these programs you'll need to download. They're free. They don't cost you a cent. They're freeware like the statistical program R or the various other GIS programs that are free like GRASS and Quark Express. I'm sorry. I just forgot his name. GIS Quark or something like that. There's about half a dozen of those programs and other statistical programs like iDig and things of that nature. There's a ton of them. So I'm going to close TexWorks. It's just, we're not going to worry about it until we get to it, but you need to download it. I think TexWorks actually comes in a package of LaTeX software. If you do a web search on it real quick, works, okay, download right here, it'll come up. Notice it was the second thing on the list. The reason is that this program is used globally. It's not just used by a few people. It is more extensively used than the program R. I mean, it is dead set good. TexWorks even has a Wikipedia page telling you what it is. It's that popular. It's a really good program. But because of what we do, we don't want to use it for most stuff because we don't know the codes all that well. You won't know them all that well even after you're expert at this. So, and TexStudio is the same way. If you type in TexStudio, I believe TexStudio may be the one that has the package of stuff with it. Here we are. Okay, it's at SourceForge, or you can go here. Notice that TexStudio is what I'm going to start with first, okay, because of the fact that we mostly use TexStudio. And once you've printed a PDF, you won't have to reprint a PDF using TexStudio either. That's the crazy part. I mean, with TexWorks. So here's TexStudio. You can just download it from this website, okay? Just to give you some ideas of what it does. We use it here. This is a table set up in code, which you'll learn how to do. It's actually it's not that hard to do, but you're not going to learn to do that right away because I know how to do it, and we can kind of fool around with that stuff for a while. It will actually, if there's an error, it will actually correct some of these errors. That's why I was saying it's so user-friendly. It's got over 1,000 mathematical symbols in it, and on top of that, I have documents with mathematical symbols and such. It has things called link overlays and things which we don't use. You can insert graphics to a specific site. We won't be using that. You can actually drag and drop stuff in this. You can't do that with the other programs. And there's also some. This is new. The table formatting stuff. I have not looked at that yet. Okay, that's a new thing in the new version, and I don't have the newest version. I have the version before. So we might find out, hey, things got a lot easier on us, because tables are the most complicated thing that we deal with. Okay? We have different views and codings and stuff like that. Most of the codings you're not going to have to learn. Okay? So most of the stuff that's in here is for people who do LaTeX. We don't. So you can download it from the site, and they tell you how to download it, how to install it. It's real easy. It self-installs basically, okay, like any other piece of software you get today. Just some basic stuff about it. This particular program was created as an add-on, and then it became what used to be called TextMaker. You don't know what that is, it's okay. It was originally called TextMaker X, and the bottom line is it runs on Windows, it runs on Linux, it runs on Mac. It doesn't matter if you want to use it on Mac, you can use it on a Mac. It's open access, open source, which fits our philosophy as a journal. And it does have some authors, and believe it or not, these people will respond to you if you have serious problems, but you probably won't. And these are people who have worked with it. Okay? It's actually a really well done program, better than most of this freeware that I've used in the past. So, TextStudio.org, you can download TextStudio. That would be your first step to start working with this. So now, looking at TextStudio, which I already have opened just a few minutes ago, we have a number of different things here. You'll notice that along the side there are a lot of different symbols that can be inserted. We have bold and italics and underline. These are really nice because in other programs you have to type in the code. This here you just highlight it, hit bold, and it'll put the LaTeX code around it, so you don't need to know it. This here is subscript on a number. Again, the same thing will happen. Your subscript number will actually end up in those brackets that are shown there. You'll put it in the number inside the bracket after this script pops up. This is superscripts. Then we have fractions, another type of fraction, square roots, all of those things that actually become pretty complicated on a word processor sometimes, because especially with the new type, if you remember WordPerfect had 50 billion different characters in their fonts. Well, they used a different font system than is now used thanks to the internet. The internet switched from using actual characters to using numerical codes that express characters. It's called true type. There's true type and open type, okay? And that true type, there was a character, and that character was X bar maybe. We can do X bar in our journal now without any problem. But we don't need to use true type. The TextStudio will do it. So, anyway, I'm kind of going off on another issue. Once you insert the program, which I'll do in the next video, once you load up the document, you'll have a document here with a bunch of code, and then if you hit this button, up will pop the PDF. What'll look like, what'll be the view of what you see in a PDF. So you'll have this half will be your document, and this that you're manipulating, and this half will be what you see, and it'll change as you do it. Every time you want to see your changes, you just hit this little button. Okay, it's very easy. Of course, these things are obvious. This is a new document. This is to open up a new page. This is to open a file, save. This is for stopping something you're doing. This, of course, clipping, copying, those things we always use. This is very user-friendly. Like, these are some codes that are used for brackets and parentheses and such. And this is the right side of all those. There's some other functions, things like this, that you might want to use, but by no means do you need to, because it'll all pretty much be in the document. Some different label issues. This is for script size, and that's about it. Going across the top, of course, we have the File button. The File button allows you to open up the new document. This is a little bit different, opening with a new, from the same template. This is for opening a folder. This is to open up a recently opened document. You can see that I had the last ones I did were Greenspan et al. 2015, Bullman 2015. These documents were opened and they were done. Okay, so I actually did do some last year. I just forgot. Okay. Of course, you get sessions that can be loaded. You probably don't have to worry about that. This is Save As, Save All. Make a template you will not use because we have a template. This is some other functions you're not probably ever going to use. I don't think I've ever used it, but you can lock the PDF, for example. Okay. And then closing, printing, etc. Now, if you print here, this is going to print your document as a LaTeX document. It will not print it as a PDF. And if you tell it to print as a PDF, it's going to print a PDF of the LaTeX code. That's TexStudio is not for printing the actual PDF. That's why we have to have the other program, as crazy as that sounds. The edit button, of course, copy, cut, paste, all those typical things that you use. It also has the capacity to erase lines or erase from where the cursor is to the end of the line, things like that. To duplicate a line, there are reasons you may want to do this, like in tables particularly. There's search commands. For example, if you're looking, let's say you've got a document on Terrapin, Carolina, and you want to italicize all the Terrapin, Carolinas, you can sit there and just go, find italics, find italics, find italics, and you get it. It goes pretty quick. So, you see, if for some reason you got to do that, find next, find previous, all the same type of things you'd even see in Word. And there's even replace. And the replace is nice because you can actually take, let's say you have a document that needs to be switched into, you have a term that needs to be italicized but it isn't throughout the document. You can actually take that term with the code, copy it, paste it into the thing just like you could do in Word, and it'll replace them all with the correct text. So for the most part, a lot of this is stuff you're familiar with. Go to, previous change, next change. Go to a bookmark. There can be bookmarks in here. Toggle bookmark. I have not used either of these for anything. Same thing here. And so those are some things. Unicode. That's the kind of characters they now use in the web. It's due to the internet that they use them. This set of here, it's called idefix. Idefix has a bunch of different things here. Like you can paste something into a document as LaTeX. you can convert something to LaTeX, but to tell you the truth, it doesn't work very well. You can preview selection, all kinds of things like this. So, you know, these are actually pretty obvious, okay, what these do. You probably won't use them very often. This window here, this pull-down menu you might use because the build and view and the compile buttons are here, and you probably will use those. There are a list of commands that you may for some reason need. Probably not very often at all. Of course, this is user who's using it. You can see that there's nothing there. Then there's a log. You can view the log, but you can view the log down here too by clicking here. And convert to HTML. It's possible to convert this to take LaTeX and convert it to HTML. And then there's some other things here that it does that we just don't use. Okay, these are LaTeX codes. Okay, that under certain circumstances you may need to use. You might contact me and say, hey, we're having a problem with this, and I'll say, oh, well, what you need to do is go to that LaTeX pull-down menu, go to tabular environment, and write begin tabbing. You know, and then you'll do that. It's pretty quick. You're going to be asking me questions probably pretty quick. The international accents that we get a lot of the international papers, they're actually easy to do. You get to the point where you know, hey, this is what I got to do, but I have them all in a PDF document, which I just have to snag and I'll email to you. Some other things, various different things that can be adjusted in a paper, most of which, again, we just don't use. Mathematical symbols, okay, functions, styles, accents, spaces, all that kind of stuff that is used in math. Why this program has remained around for so long, but not the program, but the language. There were some wizards, but to tell you the truth, you won't be using these, I don't think. You could use the math assistant. You might use the insert graphic periodically, probably not that frequently. Bibliography. Our bibliography is already set. You really won't be using this. There is a thing here for BibLaTeX, but we don't use BibLaTeX in ours, so it doesn't matter. Some macro issues, again, not relevant. Viewing, different things you can view and collapse, and most of this is not relevant again. Options, again, who cares? And then there's a help button. This help button will send you to the LaTeX reference. It can send you to a user manual. There's also, it can check the installation to make sure it's installed properly. It can help you get other packages. We haven't needed any, but it allows you to do that. And then it's got a little bit about TexStudio. So that's a basic introduction to this, okay? All I'm doing is showing you some really basic stuff so that then when we get to the next part, and I go, okay, I'm going over here, you go, I do remember seeing that. You're not going to remember what these things are right now, but after we get through, and if you try to follow it and do a paper afterwards on your own, you'll catch on pretty soon. Like I said, there's the log. There's no log here because we don't have anything open. There's a preview button that you'll see what that does, and then there's a search results button. When you do a search, it'll show stuff down here. The messages, now this is an important thing actually. Your messages, if there are errors in the coding for some reason, it will list them here and you can find them and correct them if they need to be corrected, or scream help to me and I'll be trying to figure out what they are. Sometimes they can get kind of hairy because, but they don't happen that often, but they do occur. You will have errors happen here and there. So that's kind of, that's most of what you need to know here. These buttons are for adding rows and columns to tables, okay? They weren't originally there when I first started doing this. Now they have them, but doesn't really add a lot, to tell you the truth. So I'm gonna at this moment I'm going to stop this video. It was in this part of this individual video was just intended to show you these are some programs. This is a basic idea of what's around in just give you a glance at the TexStudio so that you have something to hang stuff on when you start to learn how to do it. Nothing in this document in this video should have made you feel like, hey, I'm ready to go do a paper. You're probably sitting there saying, I'm lost. But it was just to get you some background. And that's all this is background. So, at that point, oops, close that back up. I'm going to close this back up and tell it to stop recording.